All right, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please type yes into the chat room before I get started. Okay, super. Thank you. Let me go ahead and turn this up a tiny bit. Okay, everyone else can hear me besides Dawn and Christy. Okay, super. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome back to YouTube. I'm really excited to see everybody on our first set of office hours. Congratulations on making it through the first week of VWise. I know it was a very busy week. I am really pleased to see the level of participation in the chat rooms as well as all the emails to me. So I'm really excited for all of you. It just gives me a chance to give you some personal interaction with just to help you with your venture. So I understand that there's a lot of questions about the market analysis, and that is to be expected. There is a lot involved with this. So how today is going to work, we're going to spend the first 45 minutes on the live stream for YouTube. I'm going to go over some general questions. What I found after teaching this class for 5 years is that the more I go over some of the common concepts and the homework assignments, the more it answers your questions. And so by the time we get to the private session on Zoom, we can actually just dive into your homework and see how it relates to your business. So please feel free to type your questions into the chat room at any time. YouTube used to have Google Hangouts, and that was a way I got to interact with everybody live, but they've gotten rid of that. So I will be monitoring the chat forum as I go through the PowerPoint slides, and as well as answer some of the questions that I've seen both online and through email. All right? Okay, good. We're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so one of you is having trouble hearing me. Hold on one second. Okay, can you hear me now? All right, super. If for some reason the audio goes out on your end, please try and click the refresh button on your browser, okay? But if everyone else can hear me, then we should be good. All right, and this is being recorded too, so if you miss any part of it, just go back to Blackboard, click on the link, and you'll have access to this anytime. And you will actually have access to the Blackboard classroom for a year after VWise ends. So that way, if you have any questions, missed anything, or need some clarification on concepts that you learned both in the online course and while you're at the conference, you can get back to it and be able to also reconnect with some of your classmates. Okay, so let's go over the market analysis worksheet. I hope you can see my screen. I wish there was a way that I could make my cursor more visible to you. If you download this PDF to your desktop, all you really need to do, because it's not, I mean, you could print this out, all you really need to do at that point is just copy and paste. It's mostly this part right here. This is where you could actually not just copy it and paste it, but once it's in a Word or an Excel document, is just start filling it in. Okay, so I hope that part makes sense. What I'm going to do is walk you through some of the research. So this part is really tedious, but it is probably the most important part of your business planning. So regardless of whether you need to develop a business plan, although it is a good practice, the research, the industry analysis and the market research, it is what is going to inform your decision making. So that's why this is important. All right, so let me go ahead and pull up the first set of PowerPoint slides. And I really hope that Robin is on here. I will try not to forget to answer your question that was in the Ask the Expert form. It is much easier if I can either show it to you or talk to you about it in person, so that it makes a lot more sense, because there's a lot of information coming at you over these next 3 weeks, and there's going to be even more information coming at you when you get to the 3-day conference. So the more I can present this to you in different ways, the more it'll make sense, so that it is valuable to you when this course is over. All right, it'll help you to make an informed decision. So let's go back to the slides. Let me go ahead and just start from the beginning. For some of you, you've been doing this for a while. So some of this may be a review. For a lot of you, this is all new information. Just file it away, okay? As long as you are meeting with your local business counselors, they can help you to get the information you need, help you to put it together, and so that it helps you to inform your competitive strategy. That's the purpose of all of this. So let's go through the first set of slides. I want to talk about the competitive map because a lot of your research is going to go in this. Most people like to look at this because it's easy to look at. It's a chart, it's linear, and they can tell, especially if you're showing this to mentors, industry experts, they can tell exactly what it is that you are doing and that you need to do so that you can either launch your venture or scale, depending on what it is that you're trying to do. So the competitive map, your company always goes in this first column, okay? You can flip it over. The companies can be down here. They can be up here. It doesn't matter. But what you're doing is assessing your overall strengths and weaknesses compared to all of your competitors. So your direct competitor is someone who sells the exact same products or services that you do. Your indirect competitor is someone who is basically in the same industry but sells something a little bit different, all right? Here, this will probably be the easiest thing to put on here. Okay, so let's say we were selling hamburgers. So your direct competitor would be somebody like McDonald's. You can go ahead and type into the chat room and just give me some examples. I'm just really trying to walk you through this process, all right? Wendy's. Somebody who is an indirect competitor would be in the food industry, but they wouldn't be selling hamburgers. They would be selling stuff like pizza, chicken, you name it. Anyway, so you're going to apply the same concept to your industry. And as you are researching each of your different competitors, go ahead and write in their NAICS codes. Because what you'll find is that depending on what it is that their focus is on, their mission, they may be competing in different industries. So what you'll want to do is borrow from the different industries that you are going to be competing in, all right? Since many of you, are new ventures, you will have what is called overlapping industries, okay? This I just made 5 minutes ago, Valerie. I can resend it if you want it. So anyway, you will have overlapping industries, and so that's the point of this research, is to figure out which industries you're competing in and to basically craft your strategy based on the best of all of these industries. I hope this makes sense. This competitive map was not in the original PowerPoint slide that I sent out with the reminder. So what I can do, I will just upload it and put it under the link on Blackboard. Okay, so wherever the office hours #1 link will be, why don't I just upload this one slide? Will that make sense? And will that help? Okay, all right. Yes, I will put it in the course content. Maybe that'll make a lot more sense. Thank you, Christy. I'll just put it there. If it doesn't make it there tonight, can somebody please remind me? I'll post it in different places. Hopefully somebody will find it. But anyway, I do want you to make this competitive map because when I'm working with people on business plans, this is the first homework assignment I'm going to give them is who are your competitors? Is somebody making money off of this? Because if they can, you certainly can do it too. The one thing I want to put on here, which I forgot, are who are your different niches or market segments, okay? This will be, when you get through this entire competitive map, it will be like 2 to 3 pages. What you need to do is narrow it down to like a few boxes and highlight what is really, really important and how you stand out. But this stuff is for you so that as you're looking at it and as you're researching everybody and everything, to include your customers as well as your own strengths, it'll help you to understand what it is that's important, that you're good at, and how you can be different and better and cheaper or faster than everyone else. That's the purpose of this entire analysis, okay? So everything that you're going to be doing over the next few weeks and probably over the course of the next few years goes on this map, okay? Put pictures on here too. All right, so let's go through this. The resources, all of these are hyperlinked. I'm going to show them to you here pretty soon. This is one of my favorites right here. The Kaufman Founders School. It has something on here for everyone. Even if you're trying to grow your business, it talks, you have new challenges. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Some of them include your family dynamics, as well as just growing too fast. There are a whole different set of challenges with this. For those of you who are just trying to get off the ground, this part is just overwhelming. Like, I couldn't even decide on a name, let alone a legal entity. And that's the advantage that you have being part of VWise, is that you now have access to a lot of mentors, okay? All right, this business research overview, this librarian from Syracuse, I mean, these are all already recorded. She will walk you through some of the major databases so that you understand how to use them. The niche marketing one, even though this was done years ago, it's still really valuable because you have to identify who these customer segments are, how you can find them and market to them, and how you can also iterate your products and services so that they are meaningful to them, all right? It's always about solving problems, and that's what you are now. You are problem solvers, you are visionaries, and that is why you are the leaders of your own organizations, all right? I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's talk about NAICS codes. Before, you know what, let me just escape from here. I want to show you a few things. Let me see if I can even get out of here. All right, where is it? Here we go. So if you click on all those links that I gave you in the first set of slides, here's the IVMF resource library. We've talked about this before last week. There are a lot of really good videos in each of these different topics. So we have a couple of nonprofits. I think we actually have we have several nonprofits in here, but there's stuff in here for you. I think the only thing that's not mentioned in here is the B Corp, because that's not really recognized in all 50 states yet. But there's enough information out there, and you can speak with your local business counselors about that to see if that's a good fit, especially if you have a social mission and you need to accept funding from somewhere, okay? The other thing I wanted to point out was that business research overview video. So here's the librarian. Let me just put this here so you can see her. Okay, so that way if you're super visual and you're looking for this video, this is the one where she talks you through the different databases. If you're an EBV grad, you know, I don't even know if you still have access to this, but she'll go over the entire North American Industry Classification System, as well as the special resources for those of you who are graduates from some of the EBV programs throughout the country, all right? You can ask Deanna about that. I'm not the right person to ask, but here are all the resources out there that are available for you to help you refine your industry research, okay? So for the niche marketing one, here is I did send you these slides, okay? They look like that, but here is the speaker for that, okay? So I know half of the room is visual, so that's why I'm showing you the pictures, because it'll be an immediate association. We'll get to this here in a second, but I wanted to show you those videos, and then I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to show you before we keep moving on. All right, you know, we're just going to keep going on. So you should have received these slides in the email that I sent out, okay? All right. Okay, let's go ahead and go back here. So Firefox has changed. They've changed the way they do things. There used to be a little box on this side, so now it's just this blank box here. Okay, it used to be down here. So when you are researching your different, going through the different search engines, make sure you type in the actual name of the search engine. So maybe you want to check Yahoo, maybe for finances or whatever. And then let's see, e-commerce. I'm going to type in e-commerce because I know there's 2 or 3 of you doing that. So Yahoo e-commerce industry size, okay? So if you type in the search engine, it'll give you, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. You can see how many people are looking for this. This actually tells you how many results there are, about 4,940,000 results for the e-commerce industry. I mean, you could use this as part of your marketing research, like what keywords people are looking for based on the search engine. I don't know why this is telling us Google, but if you somehow this needs to bring me back to Yahoo. So now we're in the Yahoo search engine. Sometimes it's at the bottom. This one is not actually showing me the right thing, but that's when you would actually, now that we're in Yahoo, which nobody really uses, but it's still good to see the different numbers, then you can type it in whatever it is that you're looking for. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And also make sure you are checking Google for, somebody was doing real estate investment. And this is how you just get information, general information off of the internet for whatever it is that you're searching for. So real estate investment, and I'm just going to put industry here, okay? Because you're going to get different results depending on what search engine you are using. And sometimes Google will put their results down here, the numbers. This will become really important when you're trying to track keywords, like how are people searching for you, because then you'll use those keywords as part of your copywriting for your marketing, for your blogs, all that kind of stuff. All right. I am not a professional marketer, but this is something that we've had to do just so we could be found because we are so new. After a while, you can just leverage other platforms like Facebook, all the social media platforms to drive traffic to your pages and then eventually your website. So anyway, those are some other tricks that you can use for those of you who are in that nonprofit space, are looking for grants, or are doing some sort of SBIR research. Here's another database for you. It's called Google Scholar. Okay, so if you need peer-reviewed articles, go type in Google Scholar, and this is where you can find them. So somebody was doing something on foster care. Here, we'll do foster care system. So if you're trying to apply for a grant there and you need evidence-based research or peer-reviewed articles, use Google Scholar. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So there's a lot of different databases out there. I've just touched on a little bit of them, but if you go to those videos where I hyperlinked on the slides, the one with the librarian, okay, she'll explain a lot of those, and that is on slide 3. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to upload the new set of slides in the content. I'll do that after this, and then you can download it. All right. The main thing that you do need to do is create a competitive map. So I'm actually going to show you how to do this on Microsoft Word right now. Okay, 5:47. We have enough time. Okay, so I'm just going to write whatever. This is part of your business plan section of your business plan. I hope you can see this. Let me make it really, really big. So I'm going to open up the thumbnails, and I want to show you exactly how to do this, how to format this. Did you notice how I clicked this little button that says show hide? It has a special name. Nobody will ever remember it. It's called Pilcrow. But if you click on this, you'll see all the hidden characters. See how I'm going all the way down? All right, I made it here. What I want to do now is go to layout. So this is exactly how you're going to put your competitive map in your plan. You go to layout, go to orientation, layout, go to breaks, and then just click on continuous break. Let me move this down and the reason I want to show you this is because it'll make it easier for you. Okay, then just move your cursor down and keep going down. Okay, about halfway, and then go back to layout, go back to breaks, and then put continuous. Now if you put your cursor right here in the middle, you click on orientation, and you change it to landscape, it should have worked. You see how it just flipped it over? So now you can put your map in there. You'll just fix this later. To do this, okay, I know this is a little tedious. There. That's where your competitive map goes. And then all you have to do at the very end is just get rid of that show hide button. So that's how you format this, and just keep playing around with it. Okay, there. Even when you save this to a PDF, it will keep the landscape for your competitive map. All right, let's go back to the slides and keep talking because I need to show you more stuff. All right, here we go. So the NAICS code. I don't want you to get hung up on this. Research your competitors, see what they're doing, see if it matches what you actually want to do, okay, and then choose what fits best. I'm going to talk about DBAs later, but this is the purpose of the NAICS code. Let me actually go here. You're going to use it for your business registration. For those of you who are in that procurement space, I mean, most of you already know about this, but for the ones who are new, it goes on the resume for your company. This is called a capability statement. Hopefully some of your classmates can share theirs with you so that it'll just be a little bit more meaningful than getting a blank template online. Some of you are doing very similar things, and so if they can see how you're doing it, they can see how they can tweak it based on their strengths, all right? Okay, so if you all are willing to share capability statements, that's where your NAICS codes will go, and it will also help to obtain industry reports from the business counselors. Again, we talked about overlapping industries. What they're going to do is just print out or email you different reports based on whatever industries you may be competing in. So some of you are in event management, recreation, as well as healthcare. So just get all the reports you can, read them, and then highlight or write down the things that pertain to you. Okay, so that's the purpose of that. When you're searching for your NAICS code, it's also a good way to request these IBIZ industry reports. Okay, it's basically an overall industry landscape. So this is and it really is your intel. All the stuff that you want to know about the big picture, that's what will help you to get that. Okay, this is the macro view. The big picture, okay? We talked about a lot of this already. Don't pay for these reports. They're super expensive. Get them through your local business counselor. I've had a lot better luck with the SBDC. Your university librarians can also get these for you for free, okay? All right. Let's go ahead and show you a really quick sample of an industry report. So this is the IBIZ World Report. These are really popular, and they have a lot of information. They're also hundreds to even thousands of dollars for a subscription. So talk to your university librarian or talk to somebody either through the SBA or SBDC, and they can send this to you. All right. You actually have to make an appointment with them to see them before they'll give this to you. So, and it's good. It's good to visit with them because they're going to give you access to a lot of resources. If you haven't seen this, it gives you the industry overview like in a glance, all right? So overall information about the industry. So this one's for a nonprofit. Let me just back up. So this is for your different nonprofits throughout the United States. There's about 42,000 of them. This is an old report. These are updated regularly. So in 2015, there were 42,000 of them. This was their revenue and their profit, okay? What you really want to do is look, if you keep searching down here, it'll give you everything you need to know about how to compete in this industry so that you can be successful, all right? So anyway, that's what this is about. It tells you the life cycle of the industry. So even though it's a declining industry, there are still different ways to compete and to be successful, all right? So that's what that's about. Let me go back through the slides. Okay, good. I'm glad the Microsoft Word training is helpful. Nationwide, the small business development centers are nationwide. I'm trying to think of what else that I just covered that are nationwide. All the business counselors. So just check and see who's available and what they offer, what their services are. Research tools. Okay, let's talk about Size Up. How much time do I have? We're going to keep going no matter what. Size Up is, where did I put it? Oh, I hope I didn't close this browser. Here it is. Oh no, I think I closed it. Here is Size Up. This is a really good tool. This will give you the picture at your local level. So you can choose anywhere. You do have to create an account. They've never sent me spam. It actually brings you to a third party. But once you actually get to Size Up, if you click on, Find My Customers or Map My Business, then it's going to tell you what you need to know the local level. So what I did, we have 2 of our ladies in Puerto Rico. So I typed in San Juan because I know that this doesn't cover Puerto Rico. So it's San Juan, Texas, but at least it gives you an example. And in this case, I think I included nonprofits. So what it did was it brought up, and not all of them are correct, but it brought up some of the nonprofits in that area. And what you can do, what's really important about this is that you can track the consumer spending. So I don't even know what I used here. Trying to think of things that you all are doing. Let me just reset it. So if we wanted to see how much they're spending on education, okay, maybe we need tutors. So let's see how much they are spending here on education for elementary and high school. So it breaks it down by region. So about 40,000 for this region here alone. And then if you just keep clicking on the numbers, it'll map out exactly who your competitors are, okay? All right. So that size up, Chrissy, I think this will be really helpful for you too, to see who the nonprofits are that you will be competing against for your venture, okay? And some of them, because I mean, I know you're in, was it Ohio? You're not really limited to that one area, because if you develop that model, you could be a speaker for all over the United States. That's something that you can copyright, and it can become your intellectual property and be a real advocate, a voice for those who are being trafficked. Okay, I think that's really important. So that's why I read everything that you all write, and I try and take notes unless I'm really far behind. Okay, and then somebody else too is doing the foster care system. So that's something that you all can use these tools for to get your market analysis. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, so let me go back to my slides to make sure that I'm covering everything. Census.gov. Let me just pull that up really quick. They keep moving everything around, and then it just gets frustrating for me because I can't show you what I need. So the key thing about Census.gov, if you go back to this one slide, let me scroll. It doesn't have it on here. I fixed it before I sent it to you. Here it is. The easiest way to find what you need is to use quick facts on census.gov, because for most of you, you're doing something that's business to consumer. So let's go back to that website really quick. So if you type in quick facts into the area, it brings you to this, and then you can do your estimates based on your local population. Most of you are doing something in the local area, and so you can narrow it down based on age, race, okay, even veteran status. Okay, it'll tell you how many people are veterans based on whatever year they were in the service, as well as education and income. Those are the things that you need to put on your assignments, like right here. Okay, who specifically are your customers? They live in this area, they are this age, they make X amount of money. They are primarily women, veterans, or whoever it is that you service. I'm thinking of Amanda and that Internet of Things. So she's business to business. So for her, maybe military installations, the corporate sector, but she has to narrow down those customers and maybe even make a list of who they are. Because then your next step is to market to them. Okay? That's why we become very specific with these people. When you know their demographics, you will know how to find them. That's why this part is super tedious. Okay, good. This is super simplified. I want you to take the harder route and actually map this out. Okay? Even if you have to use a ruler and pencil, draw it out. Start listing everything about your competitors, because it'll help you to learn more about your venture. Even if you're not really sure what it is that you're doing right now, it'll help you to clarify what you would like to do. I hope that makes sense. Let me keep going through this. I have 15 more minutes. Okay, so we've talked about that. I'm going to jump around. There's Reference USA. There's another database. Okay, the Federal Procurement Database. Let me see if I can. Okay, it's usaspending.gov. I think I had actually brought this up and bookmarked it. The thing I want to show you about usaspending.gov is that you can see how much people are spending, or agencies, based on either their budget, the actual agency, or the product or service. Okay, so I'm trying to think of people who actually posted into my forum because I know it's safe to talk about. If you've asked me a question in the Ask the Expert forum, you're like, I know that I can actually talk about this on YouTube because you've made it public information. I'm not going to share anything that's going to be secret. Most of the stuff that's on there is not anything that would be secretive. But I'm using your questions as an example because it will help your classmates to find you, because several of you are doing the same thing. So if you are in that procurement space, you can actually narrow it down by agency as to how much people are spending. So this is the kind of stuff that can go into your market research and analysis. All right? If your internet is going in and out, keep refreshing your screen, and then that should bring up the current screen of where I'm at, okay? All right, let's keep going. All right, census.gov. We've talked about this. Just keep exploring it. There's a lot of data on here, but what you really want to narrow down are those demographics. I'm going to talk about this really quickly. This comes up in every class. Where can you get money? This will also be covered at the 3-day conference. So there are different pitch competitions out there. You'll also have an opportunity to give your pitch and get critiqued while you're at the 3-day conference in Buffalo. I highly recommend it. If you are trying to raise startup capital, here are some of the different competitions or the circuits. Okay, so Startup Compete. This is through the Kauffman Foundation. Okay, they connect you with investors. Competitions. Some of them are grant competitions. Those I want to encourage you to do because you don't have to pay those back. And if you're ready for an investor, great. Okay, just make sure that you're ready for that. Okay, so Street Shares. This is a grant competition. There have been quite a few IVMF grads, and then this one, the Houston Veteran Biz Battle. This one is the largest investor pitch competition for veterans. Okay, we've had a lot of IVMF grads go through there, and then those of you who have some sort of venture that requires a lot of research, or a long R&D cycle, look into the SBIR STTR. Okay, and then here, if you need a grant, there's actually a site out there, grants.gov. This one's federal. But if you are working or networking with your local community, maybe they can help you write up grants. That's where you want to get started. The nice thing about grants.gov is that it will bring you to a list of all the government agencies, and there's a lot of different either grants or programs for veterans, like the USDA. They have the value-added producer grants, and those are things that might be beneficial to you, things that you might actually be able to use. All right, for our nonprofits, maybe even our B Corp, check out the foundations. The Walmart foundations, all the Fortune 500 companies have foundations, and see if that's something that you can apply for. Okay, and as well as the affinity groups like Wounded Warriors, Disabled American Veterans. There's money out there, you just need to find it, and you need to connect with people who can point you in the right direction. Okay, let me go ahead and look at the chat room really quick. The amount that the Department of Labor spends is listed here. Yes, because you can break it down by agency when you go back to that usaspending.gov. So let's go ahead and go to agency. And, all right. I don't know exactly how you find it, but you should be able to type it in. So Social Security Administration, wow, here it is, Department of Labor. So $38 billion, only 0.7% of the budget, I want to say for last year, for 2019. So the year's not even over. But if you keep going through this, it'll actually let you download data, and that should help you to see what's coming up, what's going to be available, hopefully. Okay, that was an excellent question. Thank you, Catherine. Anybody else? I know I went through that really quickly. It's 6:04. Before I forget, let me talk about Robin's question. So I know a lot of you have the same question. Let me skip back to next week's office hours. I'm actually going to talk about this more next week. So there is a way for you to do business as a fictitious name if you want to test out whether another venture or maybe a new product or service line will work for your business. So if you have multiple business concepts, what you can apply for is called a DBA, which is doing business as. Usually this is a fictitious name. Sometimes it can just be a whole new different brand. And this allows you to accept payment for your business. Okay, it's not going to offer any trademark protection, or it doesn't offer the full veil of protection of an LLC or S Corp or a C Corp, but you can still do business as that fictitious name until you know for sure that this is something that might work. Okay, so here are all the hyperlinks that explains this more in detail, but this is an option for many of you if you just need a way to separate things out. I'm going to go over this more next week, but I just wanted to mention this. So I'm not sure if Robin is on here, but I will just email this to her if she's not. So this is her current business. Let me go to the actual PDF because I wrote over this for her. So this is her. She's an artist. She creates mixed media. She designs journals. And are you on here, Robin? If you are, please jump into the chat room. So what she's actually competing in the manufacturing space. So if you're creating something or making something, any sort of art form, or apparel or anything else, you're actually in that manufacturing space. So she's got a couple of options. I really don't know a whole lot about her business. I don't know if she's just doing retail or wholesale, but she has the potential to do both. But she actually, if you read her discussion on my forum, the Ask the Expert forum, she's starting to branch off into event management. Okay, they're doing parties and workshops, so she's taking these journals that she's making, and teaching other people how to make them and how to do other forms of artwork. So this part right here, this section, could actually be franchisable. I'm thinking of is it Board and Brush? This was actually another VWise grad. She was in one of the classes, but she's turned her venture into a franchise, and it's doing very well. But this is something that Robin can do as well, okay? Because it's the whole parties, workshops, all sorts of different things. What she's done is she's taking this a step further and is now creating a whole different brand that really is going to appeal to many different market segments. And if she separates them out, even for now it's just a DBA, it's a way to accept payment for them. And maybe even later, what she can do, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I want you to see this anyway. Let me see if I can open this up. Because you can change your legal entity at any point. I just want you to go to the irs.gov website and look it up first, okay? Let me see if I can write this. If you go to irs.gov, it'll explain it further. But if you decide that this is something that would fit your venture, where you break it off into different things, maybe you could, like for Robin, she could actually sell this part, keep this as her intellectual property, and then, I don't know, keep this part as her store, okay? So think about how this could apply to you as you all get to know one another and you keep talking in the chat forums and then eventually meet at Buffalo. This is something that you can help each other brainstorm. The key thing when you are developing all these different product and service lines, and then eventually different entities, is that it affects your, let me move this, your compensation, the way you pay yourself, all right? It also affects your taxes and your liability. So the people you want to talk to about this are your bail team, all right? So this was a very complicated diagram for what she's doing. But if you're doing something similar, do you see how you can separate it out and eventually sell off different parts of your businesses? All right, so I hope that makes sense. We went through this really fast. Okay, I did go through most of this, right? Yes. If you have any questions, I can go over this more in detail, either on Zoom or just or in the on Blackboard or over the phone. Just let me know what your questions are. What questions can I answer for you right now on YouTube? Because Once I end this and we go to Zoom, that part's not recorded at all. Nobody will have access to it. So at least I can do most of the teaching online on this live stream, and it's public information. It will be accessible to you for as long as you need it. Okay. Can my one LLC hold multiple DBAs? Yes. Catherine, that's what I'm doing now. It's just the easiest thing to do. If you have your one LLC, I have 2 DBAs right now. I can accept payment for them, but my bank will only let me have 1 DBA per account. So you might have to set up separate savings, checking accounts, depending on how you're doing business and how you want to receive the payment. So talk to your bank. But yes, it saves you a lot of money, especially when, and I know everybody's in the same boat, you're kind of spread thin because you have limited resources, but you have several business ideas and people are buying all of them. All right, I hope that answers your question. Okay, good. What other questions can I answer for you all? We have 5 minutes. We have at least 5 minutes here on YouTube. And then when we get to Zoom, we'll be able to see each other face to face. So what are your questions now? The only thing I need to do before I forget is to put my Zoom link in the chat room, unless somebody can do that for me. Once we end here, I'm just going to need a few minutes to actually get set up on Zoom, but you all will be able to log in. These are great questions. What else can I answer for you? Let me go up to the top. Yes, the IBIS report is nationwide. It's also, they also have versions for each of the different countries. So for those of you who are going to be doing exporting, even manufacturing overseas, then yes, you can obtain those reports as well. They also have, they now have a whole section for reports for procurement too. Okay, I don't know if all of the business counselors have access to that because they have to pay for the subscriptions, but it never hurts to ask. I think the libraries might have them and they might be able to give you that information. Okay, good. All right, are there any other questions? I had talked to Christy about a B Corp earlier. So that's the hybrid between a nonprofit and a for-profit entity. They're not recognized in every single state, so you'll have to see if that's something that you can use. Although what I've learned is that you don't even have to set up your legal entity in the state that you reside in. You can always set it up in a different state. And a lot of companies will do that. They'll choose the one with the most favorable laws to their industry and then set up their company there. Okay, because you can apply to do business in any state. You don't have to re-register as a new LLC every time you want to do business in a different state. All right, good. Any other questions? We're down to the last 2 minutes. Can you have another business under a sole proprietorship? Absolutely. Really depends on the risk of your industry. Maybe you're just doing consulting work for someone. That would be, an appropriate form of a sole proprietorship, okay? Because you're not going to employ anyone, you just work from home, there's no risk. That would probably be okay. I would speak to your attorney, accountant, insurance agent. I would get clarification on that, but that's how most people will function as a sole proprietor. Okay, good. What other questions do you all have? I'm just going to look all the way up to the top. I don't think there were any other questions at the very beginning of this. Okay. What is the other site? The other site is Zoom. Is that what you're talking about when I close down this live stream? I actually have to bring up my account for that. Let me see. Does anyone have that link available? Before I end this, I'm going to go to my my email, and then I will post the link for Zoom in the chat room. Okay, we have another question. if yeah, so the question is, if somebody wants to run a business providing services and then a blog on an unrelated topic, would that be 2 DBAs? If you're just accepting money for the service business, that could be a DBA. If you're just doing a blog, I wouldn't even, unless you're accepting payment for something, you probably don't need to create a DBA just yet. Maybe you, on that blog, Roseanne, maybe you have 10,000 followers. People are now knocking on your door saying, can I please advertise to your followers? And you'll say, yes, of course, right? And then you'll apply for that DBA so you can accept payment from those advertisers. So they will come to you once you can grow that following. So that was an excellent question. All right. Okay, yes, so that is in. Christy posted. Did you send us the link? Is it in here? I'm probably missing it. Thank you for keeping me on track, Christy. I appreciate it. All right. Home decor. Okay, so yeah, you would need to do a DBA. No, that's great. That's great. It's really good. It is really good to have other things going on, especially if your current venture is seasonal. So if you're in retail and most of your sales are in the fall, like right before that Christmas season, what are you going to do to mitigate your risk during the rest of the year? Maybe that service business will fill in the gap. So that's what a lot of people do. Okay, good. All right. I'm actually not going to, should I do a DBA for a school setting? I would actually file as either an LLC, a nonprofit, or one of the other legal entities, because with a DBA you don't have what is called the full veil of protection. Okay, and you need to protect your assets. Speak to one of the business counselors. They're free for now. Actually, they're free, and they can give you a lot of good examples, and then you can clarify it with your bail team later. Okay, let me see if I can pull up that link. And I'm going to copy and paste it into the chat room. And then I will see you all real soon, okay? 6:17. So if you all click on that link for Zoom, I will see you online here really soon, all right? Thank you all for joining us. It was a pleasure seeing you on YouTube, and I am looking forward to seeing everybody on Zoom. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me for any questions. If you need an extension for your assignments, just drop me a line and consider this your extension, all right? Okay, see you all soon. Take care.